Hello everyone, Razorblade Mango here, and it's time for one of my annual videos that I do every year. Well, I have been doing it for a while, but the tradition is gonna continue this year, baby! And that would be the predictions video before Xbox's annual showcase. So, similar to last year, after the acquisition of Bethesda, this is going to be a joint showcase for Xbox and Bethesda, and I'm sure it will be a joint showcase with Activision by the time that deal is complete next year. I'm gonna make a prediction. When that deal finally comes through, they'll stop labeling it as the Xbox showcase or Xbox Bethesda showcase. It will be the Microsoft Gaming Showcase. I'm willing to make that bet that that's how it's going to be labeled once the Activision deal goes through, which I'm 100% sure it will. I don't see why it wouldn't. So, anyway, 2022 showcase. It's weird because normally I record these videos like weeks in advance before the showcase. But at the time of this recording, it is the morning of Tuesday, June 7th. And we're a little less than a week away from the showcase, and I don't know. I think it's just because I've been fucked up with COVID and back pain the last few weeks. I just have not at all had the motivation to record this video. And to be told, I haven't really seen a whole lot of leaks, at least anything credible over the last few weeks or last months for this showcase. So that's good. I'm going in, I feel like, with an open mind, and like I don't have any like preconceived notions of what's going to be shown here, aside from a few things that are obvious, which we'll get into. But I have to say, I'm not really all that excited for this showcase this year. I don't know. There's just a general lack of like eager anticipation going into this showcase, and I think a lot of that is just the filter that I have from my disappointment with last year's showcase, where I just didn't think their presentation hit the mark for me personally. And the main issue I had with it is that it was weirdly the same issue I had with their 2020 showcase, where I felt like it featured a lot of first and second party games but very little gameplay. And this has kind of been Xbox's problem for the last few showcases, where they show a lot of stuff, but a lot of it is CGI. A lot of it is sizzle with very little substance. And aside from the excellent Forza Horizon 5 presentation they did during their showcase last year, I thought a lot of it was just kind of like they showed Starfield. Again, it was in-engine footage, but it wasn't any gameplay. They showed Redfall, which, again, like, it's CG shit. They showed Contraband CG shit. They showed Outer Worlds 2 CG shit. Even the year before, in 2020, they showed Fable, which CG, Avowed CG, Forza Motorsport, in-engine. It's just a consistent pattern with them, where they're like, oh, let's just show CG stuff, but very little gameplay. And that feeds into my opinion that Xbox's weirdly enough, they have a very similar problem to Square Enix, where they announce stuff way too early. And Sony has this problem as well with some of their stuff, like showing off Marvel's Wolverine as early as they did was completely unnecessary at that last showcase. Even though I am interested in that title, it's just like, that was not necessary. You could have given that spotlight to something that could have actually shown gameplay. Same with Marvel's Spider-Man 2 last year, but hopefully, both of them get the hint this year. We see actual gameplay from their stuff. And they need to announce something significant as well. This is another thing that I have with this showcase, is that because Starfield got delayed out of 2022, which I called almost a year in advance. You can go back and watch that showcase reveal reaction video of mine from last year, And a few minutes after Starfield is shown, I go, how much do you want to bet that that's going to get delayed from that November 11th, 2022 show reveal thing they're doing? I called that almost a year ago because of course it was going to get delayed. I don't know why people were shocked, but it's not a good look for Xbox, especially considering that they don't have a whole lot to show this year. 2021 was a better than average year from them as far as quality and quantity, but this year, oh man, it's been brutal for Xbox fans out there. Oh man, I feel so sorry for them. So they need to announce something significant for the second half of 2022, and it can't just be new content for Forza or Halo or Gears. It has to be something new, even if it's like As Dusk Falls or Grounded 1.0. It just has to be something new that is beyond the traditional trio of Halo, Forza, Gears. Just something. And then before I get into the games, I want to comment on like something weird is going on with some of Xbox's studios. You have like these like exposés about a lot of the upper management problem that some of these studios had. A lot of their games are in limbo right now. You have 343, which oh my god, I would not want to be working at that studio right now. You have The Initiative, which to me is a failed studio right out of the gate, considering they were billed as this like new big heavy hitting studio in the Santa Monica area, and then a lot of people left and they had to get help from Crystal Dynamics for their Perfect Dark game. And then you have Rare, which right now they don't know what the fuck is going on with that Everwild game that was announced a few years ago. You have Undead Labs, the recent reporting from, I think it was from Kotaku, where they talked about the upper management there, which again, it's Kotaku. I take a lot of stuff that they report with huge helpings of salt, but I don't know. Again, it's a pattern with with some of their studios. It's not all their studios, but some of their studios. And I'm sure every studio out there has its problems, has its internal annoying politics, but just stuff that has been revealed publicly. A lot of it is Xbox. We only maybe get a handful of stories every year that has to do with drama at one of PlayStation studios, but for the last year or so, it's really been like a lot of Xbox teams, which is weird. So anyway, let's start with I'm gonna start with the third-party games this year, just to get those out of the way, because as far as third-party stuff that could be shown, it's really up in the air. I'm sure we'll see a lot of repeats, like I'm sure we'll see Slime Rancher 2, considering that's a timed console exclusive for Xbox. I'm sure we'll see a Plague Tale Requiem, which they seem to have the marketing rights for. I'm sure we'll see Scorn, which is set to be released October. I'm sure we'll see Somerville, which I think they have timed console exclusivity for that. Arc 2 was announced by, I think it was either Xbox's French account, or I think it was maybe Arc's French account, where they said that we would see Arc 2, and it was going to be a timed console exclusive. I'm sure maybe we'll see some of the Blizzard stuff, considering, Blizzard is going to become part of Microsoft in a year or so. I'm sure we'll see Overwatch 2, which I don't care. I'm sure we'll see Diablo 4, which I don't care. But other than that, it's really up in the air as far as third party. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that they would show. At least anything I know that they have marketing rights for. Can't really think of anything. Maybe an Ubisoft game or two, maybe an EA game or two. Maybe they'll show that fucking, I don't know, that Dragon Age game that I don't give a shit about, that new one, the Dreadwolf or whatever that's called. I don't know, something. The third party stuff this year for Xbox just doesn't seem all that interesting to me, so we'll just move right on to the first party. So there's 5 games that I'm convinced that we will see during this showcase this year. I'm convinced that we are going to see Forza Motorsport, the new one, and I'm sure it will get... of all the games, I'm sure this is the one that's going to be like, yes, for 2022. I don't see why it wouldn't be, because it's Forza. I don't know, they have a habit of releasing things in November. Unless they have some DLC prepared for Forza Horizon 5, then I'm sure Forza Motorsport will be coming latter half of 2022, which is, good, but again, it's not outside the usual trio wheelhouse. Grounded 1.0, I'm sure that will be announced and will come out during the summer. As Dusk Falls, which is that indie game that they announced, I think it was last year or a couple years ago. I don't remember. I think it's some like generational thing about bank robbers or something. I don't know. It looked kind of interesting. Coming to Game Pass, so I know I'll give it a shot. But I wouldn't be surprised to see that announced for a summer release date. Redfall, I'm sure we'll get shown off. I'm sure we'll finally see some gameplay for it. It just doesn't look very interesting to me visually, in my opinion. I got nothing against Arcane, even though I'm not a fan of most of their work, but I'm not really feeling it with what I saw from this, and it just I don't know. I was just kind of shocked that they thought this was gonna be like a banger that you end your showcase with. It just didn't look, again, it's just CG shit, and then all the stuff that I've heard about it, like it's gonna be like a looter shooter, like a co-op thing, and I'm like, oh, another looter shooter, another co-op shooter. Got it. And oh my god, like the vibe that I get from it, it just looks like very like twee Hot Topic kind of crap. It took me a year to hear this in the trailer, but there's a part in the trailer where one of the characters goes, yo, like Edgar Allan, so I think he or she calls somebody Edgar Allan bro, and that made me want to like, oh my god, that made me want to like stab my fucking eardrums with a knife. And it just no, I don't like that cringy shit. So finally, the game that I'm sure we'll see is Starfield, which again, I'll say the same thing that I said last year, is that I'm still not convinced that this is going to be the savior of Bethesda that a lot of people think it will be. Especially with how like mum they've been about showing actual footage of it. All they've been doing the last year is just this like concept art, and then like, oh, we're playing the orchestral suite from it, and it's like, great, how does it play? What does it look like running on an Xbox or a PC? Like, this thing, I forgot that this was announced during 2018, I want to say 2018, 2019 this was shown off. It was whenever Fallout 76 was about to be dropped, and it's like, after all this time, we still haven't seen like actual gameplay for it. And again, it's modern Bethesda. It's just, I'm just not convinced that this is gonna be the thing that Bethesda and people think it will be. I think the next good game that we'll get from them will probably be Elder Scrolls 6. So, sorry. I know there's a lot of people out there who are excited for Starfield. God bless you. I'm not one of them. I don't have a good feeling about it. And I'm just speaking from my gut here. So anyway, as far as stuff that is kind of up in the air that they could show, Hellblade 2, I'm very excited for this. I liked what I saw from the Game Awards last year as far as visually, even though I don't believe for a second it was actual gameplay, despite Ninja Theory and Keeley's insistence that it was. Like, what I was seeing was actual gameplay. It just didn't look like it to me, because I know how Hellblade plays, and that just did not look like something from a Hellblade that I played. It just didn't look very authentic. It looked cool. I'm excited to play it. I believe it will be a very good game, because Ninja Theory is a very good studio. That was one of Xbox's smartest purchasing decisions, to get them on board. And I'm sure Hellblade 2 will be fucking awesome. I really like the first Hellblade. If you haven't played it yet, go play it. It's available like everywhere. I think it's even available on the fucking Switch by now. Play it with headphones. It is one of the best psychological horror games of the past decade. It's really good. So another game, Avowed. I hope to God they show this, because I really want Obsidian to make an Elder Scrolls killer, even though when this was announced, they had not purchased Bethesda yet. Xbox hadn't purchased Bethesda yet. So I'm excited for this. I really like Obsidian. I thought The Outer Worlds was really good. I'm sure they will make a quality Elder Scrolls killer. Even though I'm not very familiar with the Pillars of Eternity lore that it's set in, I'm sure Avowed will be good. I'm sure we'll see more of Contraband as well, which I'm significantly less excited for this compared to Hellblade 2 and Avowed. I'm not a fan of Avalanche. The idea of like a co-op heist thing, it's just like, oh, okay, not my thing. But again, God bless you if you're excited for it. Fable, this is one of the ones going back to things I actually am interested in. It's possible that this will be very good. I think Playground Games is a very talented studio. I hope that they can make something that is outside their normal area of expertise and have it land really well. I know Fable means a lot to the Xbox community, even though I'm not a fan of the series as a whole. I hope for their sake Playground Games just knocks it out of the park with this. And like from that CG trailer that they showed off in 2020, it looks very authentic, at least to the spirit of Fable, where Fable is very silly. It pokes fun at a lot of like fantasy trope conventions. It's much more like a wacky sense of humor kind of thing. And that seemed to be the spirit they were going for with that debut CG trailer from 2020. So I hope that continues in the gameplay that will hopefully be shown. Everwild. I mentioned earlier that this game was kind of in a creative limbo right now. Honestly, I have a newfound appreciation for Rare in a sense, because I downloaded Sea of Thieves when that Pirates of the Caribbean DLC came out for it, and I played a little bit of it. I actually played quite a bit of Sea of Thieves in general with Dog and Maddox for a while, and the three of us had a really good time with it. Delta was there as well. Sorry, Delta. I forget that I was like, in the game I would like vomit all over Delta, so I don't know why I forgot that. I would get drunk and vomit all over everybody, and then they would vomit out. It was Sea of Thieves is surprisingly fun, and it's one of the most unique live services on the market, where a lot of these live services are like these battle royale crap or just hero shooters, arena shooters. It's like, oh my god, they're all the same. But then you have Sea of Thieves, which is a pirate fantasy, and a damn good one that you can play with friends. And you go out and you search for buried treasure, and you have like single player adventures you could do co-op with, and it's fun. It's just a fun game. It's a charming game, charming world. I'm just not convinced that charm is going to carry over to Everwild, because it just seems to be like Rare doesn't really know what to do with it. And I'm just not convinced that when it comes out, it's really going to be a big thing. I think this will be one of those games that we won't see for a few years, and then Xbox just kind of like silently squirts it out at some point, and it just won't be very good. It will kind of be like Crackdown 3, where it's like it was just squirted out, and then everyone forgot about it after like a couple of weeks. Next game, Perfect Dark. Again, this is another one that right now seems to be in trouble as far as management, but I've heard that the development has been going much better ever since they brought in Crystal Dynamics. I really don't know what to make of this game. Before that story came out about the initiative being kind of in this like having this like mass exodus, I would have been a lot more confident in this game being very good, but now I don't know. It's really I kind of would say it's like a 50-50 chance that this will hit, considering that the problems that the studio has had, considering the amount of talent that has just fucking bailed on this game. And if this game was anything like really good, that they would want their name attached to it, they would have stuck around. Like, I think it says a lot that one of the big people from Insomniac went over to the initiative and then left, only to go back to Insomniac in order to take a demotion there. That says a lot when you're willing to take a demotion to go back to your old studio to get away from this new job that you were just at. Like that, to me, that speaks volumes about the studio culture over there. So anyway, that's it as far as stuff that I'm sure will be shown off. I don't think they're gonna show things like The Outer Worlds 2 or Elder Scrolls 6. It's way too soon for something like that. And even then, what are they gonna show? More CG stuff? I mean, they could. Elder Scrolls 6, you know what? I can actually see that as a possibility, them ending the showcase with Elder Scrolls 6 and just showing like a CG thing, announcing the subtitle or something. I'm sure that will provide content for people out there. As far as things that don't actually have titles, there's this game called Project Midnight that's from Compulsion. I've heard it's like a steampunk kind of thing. I don't really like Compulsion as a studio. I really did not like We Happy Few when I played that. This to me was one of the stranger purchases from Xbox, where I was just like, why? Like, why would you buy Compulsion? The only things they've made are like that mediocre Contrast game and then fucking We Happy Few. Like, why would you buy them? There's a new game, Project Cabal from inXile, which I'm not personally very familiar with inXile, but they actually have a studio in my hometown, which is awesome. I didn't know that. I thought that was really interesting. Obsidian has a couple of new games in development. I wonder if we're going to see more from them besides Avowed or Grounded. I hope so. I really like Obsidian. Again, another really smart purchasing decision from them, similar to like Ninja Theory. I don't think we'll see anything from Double Fine, but I know they've been working on something for a couple years. Project Dragon from IO Interactive. This is actually probably one of the more interesting second-party games that I've heard is being worked on in Xbox's factory. This like dragon-themed Destiny thing from IO Interactive, and I know like people might expect me to kind of like roll my eyes at this kind of thing, considering it's probably going to be a live service, but I don't know. It's probably because I'm feeling much more positive about IO Interactive, considering I went through the Hitman trilogy a couple months ago, and I really enjoyed my time with it. And I was blown away by the amount of like depth and detail and variety that's in that trilogy. So I'm positive that IO Interactive will make something good. I'm actually much more looking forward to that James Bond game that they're doing now. That's got nothing to do with Xbox, or at least exclusively Xbox. But it just goes to show that I'm much more positive about IO Interactive than I would have been a couple months ago. A couple other things I'll throw out there before I end the video. Gears of War. I've heard that the original trilogy and probably Judgment is gonna get some kind of Master Chief Collection thing due out for this year or early next year. Wouldn't surprise me. The original Gears of War trilogy is very good. That's actually like those three, especially 1 and 2, are like two of my favorite Xbox games in general. 3 a little bit less so. 3 is good, but I like 1 and 2 a lot more. 1 is probably my favorite one just because it focuses much more on like the horror element that I really found attractive initially about Gears of War. That's it as far as the games go. The final point that I'll make about this video is that I'll end this video with my annual plea. My annual plea to Xbox every time these showcases roll around. Please, Xbox, Microsoft, please bring back Banjo-Kazooie and Conquer. More so Banjo-Kazooie, and give them to competent developers. Give them to developers who love these characters, who love these franchises, who are talented, who will do them justice. If they just show Banjo-Kazooie at this showcase, regardless of whatever they show, I will be happy. It's similar to how I felt about the recent State of Play. I said, as long as they show off Final Fantasy 16, I will be happy. They went above and beyond for that, but they showed off Final Fantasy 16 and I was damn happy. Just show me that Banjo-Kazooie is coming back. You have the assets for it. You have the talent. You have the money to make it. Just make it, for God's sakes. make it. Anyway, that's it for me today. Hope you all enjoyed. If you like what you see, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this upcoming showcase. And as always, I am Razorblade Mango. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all later. Bye.